Julia Gillard and senior government ministers will spend the coming week travelling around the country selling the budget, as a new poll reveals many voters don't support it. According to Galaxy, only 28% of voters believe the budget will be good for the economy, with 39% saying it'll be bad. The poll finds just 11% of voters think the budget demonstrates Labor is a reliable economic manager, while both the Prime Minister and the opposition leader are now using the parliamentary break to promote their duelling budget messages. Well, for more, we're joined now by political correspondent Andrew Green in Canberra. Good morning to you, Andrew. Are these poll results actually surprising?
Jane, I think there is a general feeling sometimes that budgets can provide a boost to governments, and that generally doesn't tend to be the case. We see a lot of expectations leading up to most budgets that governments think that they can somehow start to wrestle the agenda using their budget, and generally budgets don't do much for polls. But having said that, the government would still be very disappointed with this specific poll because it does have some very poor results in terms of the public's reaction to it. In fact, if you compare it to Kevin Rudd's last budget as Prime Minister, the figures are a lot lower. Around 43% of voters, according to Galaxy, thought that his final budget would be good for the economy, and that's a figure that's significantly down in this particular poll. But having said that, the government believes that the budget may provide an opportunity to start getting the agenda back on its side and to stop talking about the things that Tony Abbott has been very successful in talking about, i.e. the carbon tax and also border protection. So the government will be hoping that over the coming week and during this parliamentary break that it can start to wrestle back the agenda from Tony Abbott, because as the Prime Minister told her caucus colleagues, he has managed to control the political debate in the recent weeks.
How likely is that going to be in the coming weeks, given that the rhetoric, I suppose, has really been he said, she said, and hasn't seemed to have taken any of the agendas very much forward?
No, and the government believes it does have a good message to sell with this budget. We saw yesterday there are things like the mental health initiative that it's very proud of, and it will be taking that message around the country with the senior ministers going to various locations to sell their budget. The government will, you'll see over the coming week, concentrate also on rural areas where it thinks it has a very good policy as well, particularly with health. It will be spruiking also infrastructure upgrades that are contained in this budget. But you're right, there are a dueling set of arguments here, and the opposition leader in his budget reply certainly didn't present an alternative budget. He was never going to do that, but instead used it as a platform to sell his alternative vision and message for the country. And as we saw, he most notably made the call for another election. This is something that Tony Abbott will continue to hammer over the next couple of years, and Julia Gillard's made it clear that there won't be another election till 2013, no matter how much Tony Abbott hopes there will be an early poll.
And there's been a fairly underwhelming response to the government's population strategy released yesterday, but there's also been some internal Labor criticism.
That's right. We talk about this glossy document, Jane, that came out yesterday, which is probably most notable more for its pictures than anything else. There's a lot of glossy pictures in the government's Sustainable Australia document, and the opposition was quick to dismiss this and ridicule it. But the government has made a very big departure from Kevin Rudd's push as Prime Minister for a big Australia. This document doesn't contain any population targets and is a real departure from Kevin Rudd's vision. And what it does encourage, though, is a push to further populate the regions. That's what this document's more concentrating on. But it has met some criticism already from one outspoken Labor MP, Kelvin Thompson, the Melbourne-based MP. He says that it's a missed opportunity, and I spoke to him a short time ago, and he was really quite scathing about the document. He says that it does nothing to stop the push towards a big Australia. So some fairly damning comments from Kelvin Thompson.
Interesting. Andrew Green in Canberra, many thanks.
Thanks, Jane.